Okay, it's time to check out the Pink Panther race car, and you can see I've already got it up on its stand. Oh, see? And we're going to pull the oil pan off of here, and we're going to see what is going on inside the motor. I've already got the floor off of it. I haven't seen any cracks in the block or anything, but there does seem to be an oil leak from the turbocharger, so we'll see about that. Maybe it's just a loose fitting, but let's pull that oil pan off and see what's going on inside the motor. That's not good. I don't know what this is. Let me show you. Piece of metal. Okay, I took one of the rod caps off, and you can see that the bearing has spun inside. Let's see if I can get some good light on it. Yeah. The bearing has spun inside there, so that's a good sign that we have some problems with the crank. So I think I'm gonna take some more off, but I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have to pull the crankshaft on this motor and get it turned down. All right, so I made the decision to pull the motor on the Pink Panther, and well, the last time I had to do this, my whole work area here at Speed World got completely destroyed because there's so many little bits and pieces that all fit together, and they all got, so this time I went to Costco and I spent $200 on the shelving unit, and I'm already starting to you can see I'm starting to so I'll just pile up all the parts on that thing and try to keep it all organized, because then I won't have as much anxiety having everything all spread out over the place. So yeah, we're just gonna carry on and pull the motor out of the Pink Panther. Okay, I have never seen such a thing before, but when I started taking the crank out, I could see that when I took this rod off, this is the number 4 rod, I could see that there was a whole bearing half that was missing. I'm like, where did this go? Like, it wasn't on the cap. Well, I just discovered where it is. You can see the one rod bearing half spun around and stacked up with the other one. It's no wonder that the engine wouldn't turn over anymore. That's a catastrophic failure right there. But the good news is, this is the main journal, that one. They're all mint. So these rods, the rods are bad, but the mains are good. I happen to have another crank from that engine I destroyed the ring lands on all those years ago. I still have that crank, and it's perfect. So I'm gonna get that one polished up, and I'm gonna put it back in there and reseal it, and job's a good one. Okay, so I've decided to put new main bearings and new rod bearings in this engine. And I have this other crank that is out of an engine that I blew the ring lands up on years ago, but the crank was perfect. So now the owner's manual says that there should be between 12 and 29 thousandths of an inch space between the bearing journal and the bearing. So, I mean, you can get out some fancy tools to measure that, but what works really amazing is a thing called plastic gauge. So if you don't know what plastic gauge is, this is a tiny little piece of plastic. You see that little, oh, come on, focus, right there. See that little piece of green right there? What you do is you take a little piece of that and you put it on where your bearing goes, like between the bearing and the journal. And you torque everything down to spec, and then what it does is it squishes this little piece of plastic. It squishes it, and then once you've got it squished on each of them, you can compare how much it's squished to this little chart, and if it lands up being squished the right range of what you're looking for, then you know you have it the exact right gap that you need there. So I'm gonna put a little piece of plastic gauge across each one of these main bearing journals, and I'm going to take the cradle that has the bearings in it that goes across here and holds everything down, and I'm going to torque it down to spec, and then take it all off and take a look and see how we did. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so you saw me torque them all down to the required torque, and then once you got that, then you have to go over them all again according to the book and give each one of them 70 degrees more rotation. So that's what this device is for. It goes on the bolt, and you can see on the gauge when you've got 70 degrees. So I had to go over them all again doing that. Now that I've done all that, now I got to pull it all apart and measure the plastic gauge and see how thick it is. Okay, now you can see that little squished piece of plastic there and there and there and there and there. So now I can measure each one of them. Let's go to the easy one here. We have about 15 thou clearance, and that one is maybe slightly less. Yep, 15 thou. Yeah, so we got 15 thou across all of them, and the book says anything between 11 thou and 29 thou is awesome. So these are all good. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing now with the connecting rods. I'm gonna put a little bit on each one of the connecting rods on the journals, and I'm gonna check them all for that. And I don't need to show you that because you already know how this all works. But yeah, now I'm gonna check the rod clearance. Okay, everything came up good with the rods, so I landed up assembling the whole engine. Here it all is, completely assembled, ready to go, back in the race car. And all I'm waiting for now is my best friend, Chris Kunkel, is donating a Jericho racing transmission and torque arm rear suspension to the project. So I'm waiting for that to head over my way, and then I gotta re-engineer the rear suspension, because right now we're a 3-link. All right, let's see. You can't really see it, but we're a 3-link suspension, but we're gonna switch this out and change it to a torque arm if possible. I don't know if there's gonna be room for it, but I think there is. So the torque arm attaches to the 9-inch forward center section, and then it'll come forward, and it should help us with the inside wheel spin problem. And the Jericho transmission obviously is gonna help us with the shifting situation. I never really had a problem with the shifting because, I'm used to it, but we did have some trouble with other people just hopping in the car and having trouble with the shifting. And let's face it, even though in this car you're only shifting once, if it takes you 3/4 of a second to complete a shift,
and it would take the Jericho 0.2 of a second to complete a shift. You've lost half a second, right? So we're gonna put a better transmission in it. Maybe it's lighter. I don't know. I'm hoping it's shorter, because if it's shorter, that means that I can put a longer drive shaft in it, because that short little drive shaft, I suspect, contributes to our inside wheel spin problem. But anyways, all right, so that's where we're at with that. And as soon as I have some more updates on that, I will let you know. But anyways, next video is going to be Camaro content, more electrical harness stuff, and I hope you're enjoying the whole series.